friendly fire. Now I started to become curious about friendly fire because the disparity between my opponent's kills and my losses was getting pretty big in some battles, especially where I used a lot of skirmishers. And I decided to find out why. Now I suspected friendly fire could be a culprit, so I decided to test this, and I've tested this several times. This is how I often use skirmishers: pin a unit and then try to shoot it to death with skirmishers, like this. I will take a note of the shield bearers' skills here. The shield bearers are going to go down a lot quicker because of this, because I'm focusing fire on them. But what you'll also notice is that since I'm firing from the back and over the heads of my own men, where they don't have shields, where they basically just have their armor to protect them, and I'm firing to the front of these shield bearers where they do have shields, I might be taking unnecessary casualties from my own missiles here. We'll have a look at the result screen. So 28, 30 kills for the shield bearers so far, and I've lost a lot more Triarii than the shield bearers have killed. So I am able to kill these shield bearers effectively, but I might be doing so at a substantial cost to my own units. We'll see here. The Triarii are dying pretty quickly, and the shield bearers have only killed 39 men, 40, so these Triarii should have 80 men left, which means that at the moment I think I've done something like 30 friendly fire casualties. I was able to win that engagement, but let's have a look at the cost of winning when firing into the backs of one's own units. Now the enemy killed 41 and I killed 31 of my own men, so I almost killed as many Triarii as my enemy did, and that's not a very cost-effective way of using skirmishers or winning engagements. Now, I decided to try this with cavalry as well, because especially when firing javelins into masses of cavalry, it seems to be doing a lot of friendly fire casualties. So to the point where I'm pretty certain I've decimated entire units almost completely myself by being too anxious to pour javelins into the mix. So I tried to test this here. 3 velites, 2 equites, and I'm going to send them in against the Hellenic Cataphract unit. But by being a bit more careful with how I skirmish, I've managed to cut down friendly fire casualties from sometimes it's been as bad as 200, and yep, it sounds incredible, but it's been that bad, and cut it down to something like 10-20 casualties that are hard to avoid. So we're going to send up the velites, send up the equites, and see here. Should do quite a lot of friendly fire casualties. Starting to fire. And as you can see, the Hellenic Cataphracts are dying pretty quickly. Pretty quickly indeed. From this massed fire. So if this was in a game, I'd say, well, that was a pretty good engagement. However, look at the losses. The enemy killed 14 of my own men, and I lost 77. So that means that in order to kill this Hellenic Cataphract unit, I used 3 skirmishers, and I traded this unit for 63 of my own men. So I basically gave away an entire unit to kill this Hellenic Cataphract unit. Now if I only sent in that single unit, then that would be a cost-effective trade, because I would be losing that unit anyway in trying to attack this Hellenic Cataphract unit, and if I can pin it and attack it with these velites, then it's cost-effective. It's still cost-effective by using 2 of these equites, because the Hellenic Cataphract is more expensive. However, it would be more cost-effective to send in just this 1 unit and take less friendly fire casualties. Now, of course, friendly fire, how many casualties you take from friendly fire, is heavily dependent on the angle you're firing from. So, if we do the exact same test as we did last game, or the game before, sorry, with the shield bearers and the terrarii, if we reverse the angle, if we fire from the back, we should do a lot. That's the kind of the ideal situation where there are no shields, and it might even be, because most missiles tend to miss to either side, it might be better to shoot from the left hand side here into the when I'm facing these guys, it will be to my right, but it's their firing to their right hand side because their shields are on the left hand. So that could be a good alternative. It takes less time to them to flank all around, so we're going to try that, to fire here from the right. I'll just charge in here to stop them. And now we're actually going to be able to get rear shots, so I'll take it. And you can see rear shots are much more effective because these shield bearers are going to block close to 50% of their missiles that are incoming from the front. So a lot quicker, and this time I killed the shield bearer unit and only got 3 friendly fire casualties. So the take-home message here is firing into blobs where you both have enemy units and your own units can be worth it if you have numerical superiority or you have engaged cheap units against more expensive units. But firing from the back is going to result in less friendly fire casualties. Firing from the enemy's right is also going to result in less friendly fire casualties. And in cavalry engagement, the amount of friendly fire casualties can be staggering if you're firing into a cavalry blob. So I suggest you take note of how many kills your enemy has and how many losses you got in a battle, and see if you're using your skirmishers a bit haphazardly. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the battlefield.